Hey, my friends on YouTube and LinkedIn. Happy Friday Eve day. You know how I do things around here. I'm waiting on StreamYard. It looks like it is connecting into my free Facebook group. Give me one sec. I want to make sure we are live in the group because we had so many group members that were very excited about this topic today, as am I. I'm going to kick off the comments really fast in the group. Speaking of my free group, if you're not in it, what are you doing with your life? It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur, Get Visible, Grow Your Email List and Your Income. That's stuff everybody wants. You can network with other people, promote your stuff. It's not a spam fest. Anyway, come find us and join us. It's super fun. Today, I have my friend in the house as our guest expert, Christina K, as I like to call her, primarily because I cannot pronounce her last name. We were just trying before I went live. Her last name is gorgeous. And I was trying to say it. I just am not smart enough to say it. Christina, will you say it for everybody?
Yes, it's Kokologiannakis.
Gorgeous. Can't even. I tried really hard though. I did, didn't I?
You did awesome.
My friends, you're going to love this discussion today because we're going to chat about how you can enjoy your life right now. Did you hear me? Right now, while you're building your business, instead of making that mistake I've made, we all make, thinking when I get my business built, when I lose the weight, when I get the, then I'll be happy. Then I'll travel. Then I'll take care of myself. Okay. Raise your hands, folks, in the comments. Anybody else but me said all that stuff? We're kicking it to the curb today, and Christina's going to show us how. But first, just in case we are brand new to each other, you know, I always like to introduce myself just in case. I am Tracy Beavers. I'm an award-winning sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And y'all know my story. About 7 years ago, I came to the end of the road with a corporate career. I hatched a plan to fully exit, and I'm proud to say that I did. And once I did, and I was able to actually be intentional about building this business you see here, in my second full year of business, I busted way past the six-figure mark and I haven't looked back. And I share that with you guys to inspire you to go ahead and take the leap and chase the dream, kind of like what we're going to talk about today with Christina. I teach all organic visibility and list growth strategies. I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs over the years to get that visibility that grows your list, brings more leads in to get to that consistent monthly income that you want. And the strategies that I teach are not the same old tired list growth strategies. These are fresh strategies that you've probably never even considered. And they get your list growth and leads coming in automatically every day in the background of your business. Let's talk about Christina for a second. Let me introduce you to her. Here's her short bio, which I read it and I was like, okay, I always thought she was amazing, but I read this and I was like, holy cow. She's the founder of the House of Cortessa, which we're going to talk about today. It's an exclusive society for female entrepreneurs that want to step into the true life of an empress. How cool does that sound? With nearly $100 million in sales created in only 9 years, y'all, and a place in the top 3% of wealth in the United States, Christina is a leading voice on what she calls income jumping. We'll talk about that today. Identity shifts and creating our empires with ease. And you know, I am all about ease. She curates revenue ecosystems that allow women to step fully into their power, expand our wealth, and live life unapologetically. I love that. And her fun fact. Okay, Christina, do you want to share your fun fact? I think this is so great.
No, go. Yeah, I want you to say, you tell it and then I can add to it.
Okay. She's obsessed with murder mysteries. And not just anyone, like the really good ones. What she shared with me was that she can, and this is a gift. She can usually figure out the plot and the whodunit in the first few frames of the show. And I'm like, how do you do that? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's my children hate me. Like now it's kind of this game I wrote in my newsletter actually that came out yesterday to my email list. And I was like, my kids actually will be like, who did it? Like, let's play that game, Mom, and see if you're right at the end. And I'm usually right 90% of the time.
Oh my God.
I have a very unique brain. And sometimes I say my brain is like funky because the way I see everything in the lenses, I pick up on verbal cues.
Yeah.
I pick up on facial cues. I pick up on the energy, the interaction. This can be with anime. This can be with like real life. Like it doesn't matter. And then already within 10 minutes, I'm like, I already know what happened. So my kids wanted me to watch K-pop Demon Hunters and I was like, whatever. So I watched it in like 10 minutes. I'm like, I already know what's going to happen. My daughter's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Like I already do. And it was a cool movie, but it's like hard for me because at the end, I'm like, okay, I already expected that. That's already what's happening. Okay. But now when you get the
So
really good
funny.
murder mysteries,
Yeah.
there was this one on Netflix that I loved, and I forget the name of it. It's in the White House, and there's a murder in the White House.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I already know who did it. Oh, I already knew who did it. And then they introduced something else, and I was like, wait, no, wait, did they do it? Like, wait, hold on. By the end, I had two people, and I was like, I know for sure it's one of these two people, and it was none of them. And I was like, this is like the best freaking show in the world because
I think I watched that one. Was it where the butler was killed?
Yes.
What was that called? It was
I can't
Shonda Rhimes.
remember.
It was
But she
Shonda
was
Rhimes, wasn't it?
she was the bird watcher, and like she articulated a lot of that, and like it was so good that I literally fell off the couch because I was like, wait a minute, I thought it was like I so thought it was the husband. Well, I'm not going to tell everybody who did it. It was the husband's. It was the president's husband. I totally thought he did it. Like I totally thought. Like I was so wrong. But anyways, I love those because in my brain, this is why I'm so good in business and why I figure out the strategies I figure out because it's all about looking at it with a different lens, and it's saying, okay, what's happening now? Looking in the future, saying, okay, I see all this happening. Let's go 10 steps ahead. And my brain's already articulating, okay, I'm already 10 steps ahead. No, that doesn't play back, come back. Oh, does this work? No, not. And it goes so quick in my brain that I'm already processing all this information. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. And so I can figure out things super, super quick. And that's one of my superpowers.
I love that so much. I can usually figure it out too. Or like there'll be a thing that keeps coming in the story. Like in this one I was watching, this lady was making cakes all the time. And I told my husband, I'm like, that cake is going to be have a part in this. That cake's going to come into play. He was like, what is cake? I'm like,
it's a pattern. You saw the pattern. Yeah.
I did. They keep showing it to us for a reason. And one of the questions I had for you was what's one you've watched recently, and you already answered it. And I will remember the name probably at 2 a.m. That is usually what happens.
See, I can remember. This is what everyone laughs at me. Like I forget people's names. I will never forget your face. I will never forget our conversation. I have a really good memory. I remember all the details, but I cannot remember names of things. I'm like, so horrible. And Jim Quick's like, well, you just got to take one of my courses because you'll remember the names of everything. I'm like, I know. I'll get there and I'll do it soon.
I love it. Well, let's dive into today's topic because as I was promoting this all week to my audience, people were like, oh, I can relate to that, especially women. And I know you serve women. I serve men and women, but 90% of my audience is women, really. So here's the mistake that I've made. I don't know if you've made this. Maybe you are smarter than the rest of us. But most of us think when we're building this business that we've got to pause our enjoyment, our happiness, that we're going to, after we get there, after we make it, we're going to be happy. We're going to be able to travel. We're going to be able to have joy in our life. And tell us, why do you say that that's backwards? And what happens to us when we're doing that to ourselves?
Yeah. And I made the mistake too. So everyone does it, right?
Yeah.
I just made it early enough on that I realized it. And what happens is, okay, so we're high functioning women. We're out there, we're doing a lot, we're pushing. And a lot of the women that I come in my coaching and that I've been working with are the high functioning ones. They still have anxiety in the background. They still are overwhelmed. They have a lot of fear, but you don't see that. They look all put together and they look great.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. We push. We keep saying, because most of the people in your group are this way too. I know they are, where they're like, oh, I'm going to hit this goal. And then now I have a new goal. And then I'm going to hit another goal. Oh my gosh, I'm going to push for that goal. If you're always pushing for the goal, you're never ending. You never find it. You never finish it. The what you want never ends. And so what happened was I kept saying, okay, I'm going to double down, triple down, quadruple down, and I'm going to do so good. And I'm going to push so hard. I had just had a baby at the time. And so I had a brand new baby. I was working part-time at another job. I was trying to ramp up my business. I was trying to do everything. And what actually happened to me was I fell. So it was doing so good. And I burnt out so bad. That for like 3 months, I couldn't do anything. I was sick. I was trying to nurse a baby at the same time. And I was just like, what happened to me? And I realized that I took the joy out of life. I just completely stopped enjoying life. And I had probably had a little, postpartum depression probably and some other things mixed in there. But I realized very quickly, I said, what am I actually doing all this for? What is the point of all this?
What is the point? Yes.
Right? I have an internal drive. I was
Me
just talking
too.
to one of my really, really good friends, Beth, and she was like, "Why do you want to make $10 million a year?" And I'm like, "Cause I do. I have this
Yeah.
drive. I want to do
Right.
it."
Right.
Um, but we have that drive, and if we're not really careful on looking at that drive and where we are in our life and how we're moving through the life, I have seen so many people who hit those milestones. They are divorced. Their
Yeah.
kids hate them. Their empire, whatever they built, is actually crumbling. They
Yes.
have cancer or they have other diseases or whatever, and their bodies are falling apart.
Mhm.
And they're like, I just spent 20 years of my life to do this,
Mhm.
and I can't even enjoy my life now.
Yes. Yes.
So
Oh my
that's
God.
why it's backwards. Here's what
Yes.
I do instead. Now, I live a quiet, wealthy lifestyle. So I had to start adding in the 3% because people were like, well, you don't look wealthy. And I'm like, I don't show wealth because I take the money I make and
Mhm.
I take that $1 to make me $5 or $10 more.
Yep.
So I buy a lot of rental properties, right? I invest in a lot of other stuff. I put it back in my
Mhm.
business. So, and I don't believe in consumerism, but what
Yeah.
I do is I travel the world.
Nice.
So last summer, I took a minivan with my 4 kids.
Mhm.
We flew into Austin, but we went to 13 states and spent all summer in Airbnbs,
Wow.
traveling different states, experience them, getting different things. I'm all about experiences, but I have the money and the opportunity to do that. And that
Yes.
was the best thing ever. And my business
Yes.
still ran and I still made
Right.
money.
Right.
And then a year before that, I was doing a 4 event speaking tour in Greece. And I actually was like, you know what? I'm just going to spend all summer in Greece. And I
Nice.
had the money and I had the availability and I worked a little bit, but the way I set my business up, I didn't have to.
Mhm.
It was the best summer ever. And my kids are like, can we go do that again? And yes,
Aw.
it was expensive. I spent $50,000
Yeah.
for the summer with all the Airbnbs, the food, the travel. I rented like a private car to take us everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it. And that's the things you hold on to in life
Yes.
is the enjoyment. Now, some of your people and they might say, oh, I don't have that kind of money. Okay.
Right?
But you can definitely take a couple days and
Yeah.
just go sit at the lake. Or
Yeah.
you can take a couple days and just like some people will be like, I just want to be in nature, go hiking. Like it doesn't have to be money driven, but if
Right.
you're not taking time to enjoy the moments along the way, we forget
Mhm.
why we're doing all this. And I think that's
Mhm.
what's hurting a lot of people.
Right. And so you I think you just defined and described because one of my other questions, and I know the audience has had this as well all week when they're looking at the title of this, the Cortessa identity.
Yes.
So I think you just described it, right?
Yeah. So it is really the Cortessa identity. So a lot of people ask me, like, why did you name it the House of Cortessa? And I
Yeah.
said, because I wanted to really say, hey, you're a monarch or a matriarch. But the
Mhm.
problem is this: no one handed you any of this. No
Mhm.
one gave you the title and says, now you're a princess,
Right, right,
right?
right.
No one
Yes.
did that. We're working our butts off
Yes.
to make it there. And whatever your
Mhm.
empire looks like, because everyone's empire is different,
Mhm.
we're working so hard. So, what the essence of a Cortessa is that powerful woman who
Mhm.
wasn't handed anything but built it. She is striving, she's pushing. But what I add into mine is that you're living the life that the empire is fueling. So we're
Mhm.
not living a life to build an empire. We are
Right.
building the empire to live our life that we've always
Yes.
dreamed of. That's
Yes.
the whole point. So I talk about health, I talk about longevity, I talk about like right now I'm going through nervous system reset, like all
Mhm.
these things that you have to do as you grow that's important. And
Mhm.
that's what the house really encompasses. And there's amazing community because it's a curated house where the
Mhm.
women who are coming in are not just because a lot of these members, you know this, a lot of like masterminds you go into, either everyone's at the same level
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, or you're getting weird people and then you're like, but this has nothing to do with me. Why am I here?
Yeah.
Instead, the house is very curated. So all the women are at different levels, right? It's application only. So we are only going to bring in so many people at so many levels. So it's not
Yeah.
just one level. And
Mhm.
they're all the same women struggling with the same thing, striving for their own empire, but in
Mhm.
different areas.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you're doing like coaching, but somebody else has just a course, or someone else is looking at something else a different way. But when you put that together, you learn so much from them, right?
Yes.
And that's what I'm
Sure.
really excited about.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said about, um, well, okay, you said you're not gonna wait to enjoy your life until the funds come in.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy using the funds we have now as we continue to grow our empire and our income and all of that. And
Yeah.
I am so on board with that. You know, I that's one of the reasons why I ditched corporate because I felt like it was totally running my life. yes, I was making great money.
Yeah.
But just as you said, those people that are 7 and 8 figure earners, lift up the hood. How happy are they? And I was starting to be very unhappy. Thankfully, my marriage and my kids were fine. Everything else was great, but I was miserable. And so I had to ask myself, what's the price I'm paying by staying here? And then I had to say to myself, okay, Tracy, if your business does not fully replace your corporate salary, are you going to be okay with that? And I came to the conclusion that I would.
Yep.
If I was making half as much money, but I would have time to enjoy it.
Yes.
Even if it was a simple thing like being able to walk the dog when I want or flying off to Greece, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, I think it's so important. So we talked about you've made nearly $100 million in sales in under a decade.
Yeah.
My audience would love to know, what was the source of that revenue? Was it through your real estate company? And then how did you make sure that so 2 questions really.
Yeah.
Was it through your real estate company? And then kind of like what we were talking about, how did you make sure that your empire was funding the life you wanted as you built it? Because I think that's confusing for a lot of people, what we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So So I didn't even count a lot of the other sales. So I actually came from corporate as well. I sold softwares and tech. So I have sold tons more, but I don't even count that because I'm like, it wasn't my own business, even though I was really good at selling it. So I wanted to only account for what I've done. Right. And so, yes, it was through my real estate business that I still run. I still manage separately. But real estate is really, really hard because there's 2 sales in every transaction. You have to sell the person to work with you, and then you actually have to sell the home to make the money.
Yeah,
so if you're not making 2 sales, it's very easy to make nothing.
Right.
And so I'm in the top 1% of all the real estate agents across the country. So that's where the money came. But here's what it's a big thing about actually enjoying the life, right, as you're going. So when I created the real estate business, when I actually hit big in the real estate, I had nothing set up. I didn't know anything. I actually owed over $300,000 in taxes the year that I made it big. Because I was like, and I didn't have the money because I kind of like spent it and enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, I need to pull back. Instead of having a hobby, I need to make a real business.
Yes.
I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years. Right now how you go and you log in your bank and they give you a little text code to put in to authenticate it. So about 15 years or so ago, my husband and I created a tech startup called Auth Logic. That was our whole thing, is that you were going to get these little codes when you go to the bank or at the grocery store so that you protect your information. We started a patent and everything, but we ran out of money. And at the time, a lot of VCs were saying, no, that's stupid. Nobody wants it. Now look, everybody has it.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been an entrepreneur for a really long time, but as a lot of your listeners are going to know, is that it takes time to hit it big. You got to fail a lot. And I failed a lot before I learned what works. So what I've done is when I've built my businesses, all my businesses, I build them in a way that I take as much money home as possible. Now, in my real estate business, I take 90% of the money I earn home. Okay. Now, there's tax strategies and a lot of other stuff that I use to help make sure that I get more money in my pocket. In the coaching world right now, because of some systems and some things and how I'm building, I don't take as much home as I would like, but it will be streamlined. It's done. So one of the biggest things, the way you enjoy life as you're going, is you need to set up the systems in the right way. So you're actually taking money home so that you can actually live that. Now, like I already mentioned, you don't necessarily need money to enjoy life, but if you're somebody who wants to be able to jet off and go do something, do it. But I caution everybody I coach is this. This is not a go blow all your money on a $150,000 Range Rover. It is not a go get a Lamborghini. It is not, because I see that all the time. And then you're poor. This is strategically thinking. This is why I call it, there is making money and there's wealth.
Yeah.
We are wealth building. We are not making money. The whole point of wealth building, for anybody who's not aware of the differences, making money is that you have to work every single day of your life to get a paycheck. If you stop working, you have no money.
Right.
Wealth is different. Wealth is always earning and making money if you show up or not. So I have a lot of rentals that make me a lot of money, right? I have other investments where I'm getting 7, 8, 9% return on my money that I feed it, right? I have all these different things playing. So I'm building wealth, not just having money. And I think that's the big thing is If you go below all the money you're making and you're taking home, you're going to be working forever.
Yeah.
Instead, I teach people how to actually make their money work for them.
Uh-huh.
So because this is the whole point. Why are we building the empire? So that in the future, you can enjoy life even more, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people can't even step away.
Yeah.
Because if they step away, they
True.
make nothing.
True.
My goal is to be getting to the point where I'm having enough coming in, where I'm growing in all sorts of different areas that I can step away and be like, it's still working. I don't have to sit coaching all day, or I don't have to be out on YouTube all day if I don't want to. Like, I don't have to do that. And I have enough money to live. Not like a little bit, but a lot, so I can enjoy the way I like to enjoy.
Yes. I love that. I love the difference between making money and wealth. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Let's shift for a second, because I know there are a lot of my audience. They are feeling like all they're doing is hustling. They feel like they are on the hamster wheel and they can't get off. Just like you said, you can't stop working, and they're not really allowing themselves to enjoy their success. So when it comes to our mindset and how we get into this identity you're talking about, what is that first shift that we need to make to then fully align our business with our life and feel that joy and not feel like we're hustling all the time?
That is such a great question. And I'm going to be very honest, for everyone, it's different. It really is. And I'm all about being authentic to yourself, but I'll give you kind of like the general one that I see the most. And I talk about this as your identity upgrade, right? We need an identity upgrade, because and I know you and I in my podcast have talked about this, but there's 4 pillars in a business. One is you're making sales. That's the first pillar. The second one is you're making consistent sales. This is where everyone kind of stops and gets stuck, right? We're making consistent sales. We're doing great. The third one is those income jumps. That's where you're going from 100,000 to half a million to $1 million, and so on. That's where everyone gets stuck. If you don't have the identity upgrade and you don't know that you are worth it and able to do it all, and your systems are in check, personal systems, computer systems, then it's really hard to do it. So what I tell people is this: one of the biggest ways to just start it is plan a day off. So I don't work Fridays. I don't. Now, the only time I'll work Friday is if I decide I want to work Friday. So like sometimes I get in flow and I'm like having a really good week and I have all these cool things are coming to me. I'll work Friday because I'll be like, oh, I just want to really work on this. It's like fresh in my brain. But most Fridays I might lay in bed and watch a movie, or I'll go shopping a little bit, or I'll go get a massage or a facial or something. Like, I try really hard not to work, and then I try hard not to work on the weekends.
Nice.
So you have to set the boundaries of when are you going to work and when are you not going to work. And I think that's the biggest thing, because being on this hamster wheel, and this is where I'm going to ask everybody listening, if you're on the hamster wheel, I have to ask you, are you doing work just to do work? Are you doing work that actually moves the needle? Because I can tell you right now, I work 4 hours a day and I'm moving the needle. Do I get everything I need to get done? No. Right? Some things, like I'm still working on my darn website because I want to get it done, but it's not priority because it's not making me money. People come to my landing pages, not my website. So it's fine. Right? So it's like, are you doing the right stuff or not? Are you focusing on making money, or are you focusing on busy work? And a lot of times when I ask those questions, it's busy work.
Yeah.
Oh, but I got to respond to people on Instagram. I love you guys on my Instagram. I do, but I have probably 100 messages I'll get to when I get to.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have a social media manager who helps me in different things, but I pick a day and I sit down and I do that. I don't do it every day. I'm not distracted. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We have to look at our week and design it according to what fits us. So I try really hard, similar to you. A little similar but different. So Mondays and Fridays are my days. I try very hard not to do any public facing appointments at all, unless it's really important, unless it is going to move the needle, like you said. But I do work, but it's primarily because I really like what I do. So, I don't see myself laying in bed watching a movie. Kudos to you that you can do that. I would be laying there going, it'd be really fun to do this. It'd be really fun to work on that. Da, 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 da. So I do work quite a bit, but it's because I like it and it makes me happy. Also because I don't have little kids at home anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say you're in a different stage, because I have 4 little kids. I have 16-year-old to 6. And like for 2 hours, my 6-year-old came into a new school. and he's behind in reading, and like for first grader, like really behind, they're reading and doing him. He's like, I can't read it, mom. So for 2 hours, I spent time with him, like helping him read, and I'm working with him. Like that's kind of exhausting. So it's like, I have a different stage of life. That's why I tell you everyone's is different.
Yes.
But for what you said, if you're loving what you're doing, so there's a distinction here that I help people draw, because this is what someone will say, well, I love it, I enjoy it. But I'm going to ask you, do you have other hobbies? Are you doing other things? Because this might be what you love, but are you really happy with it? And I know you have hobbies. I know you do some stuff. It's like, you have to enjoy other things. If you find that you're only working and all you can think about is work, that's a nervous system problem. And that's going to wreck your body. So you want to make sure that instead, it's like, because I love working. Like, I think if I didn't have children or a husband, I probably would be working 24/7 because I love it. I think about it all the time.
I know.
But then I realized, because I think about it all the time, that's not healthy for me either. So now I'll go on walks, and I don't put work podcasts in. I put other podcasts in. I try to like give me time not to think. And I notice when I do that, I actually do even better in business, in all of my businesses that I have, because I have property management company I run, I have my real estate company I run, I have my coaching that I run. So all these things I actually do better because it frees my brain to rest. And then when I sit to actually have the thoughts, it's more clear and more distinctive versus busy thoughts. Does that make sense?
It does. So you touched on nervous system problem. Tell me more about that for the woman who's listening, who just said to herself, oh, I am working all the time because I feel like I have to. I'm really not enjoying it that much. You said it's a nervous system problem. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yes. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm learning all this as I'm going. So I'm actually doing a trauma release nervous system reset right now. So I'm going to make a YouTube about it. I'm just a few weeks into it, but I have almost died 4 times in my life. 2 years ago, I was 10 minutes from death. Yep. I had surgery, I ruptured, and I bled out, and I had no more blood in my body. And so it's trauma. That's all that stuff is trauma. Stress of work is trauma. If you've had children, that's trauma. Your body holds all of this. And some people, so like my sister, she doesn't have any effects with it. Doesn't bother her. She doesn't have the stress. And I'm always like, why are you never stressed? Like, you're always just like free from, and she plays 4 hours of pickleball, and she's like, oh, it's so great. And I'm like, I'd be exhausted. We're all so different. And so your nervous system, you have to know, are you that person that absorbs everything and you feel it and you're very sensitive? Like, I'm an empath, so I feel everybody. If you are someone like that, you have a sensitive nervous system, which means it sucks everything in and holds it. That's where you get the constant fatigue. That's where you're like, I have a lot of anxiety. You may have depression. That's also, something I see too as well. Some people might feel like they have a lot of depression. I associate that more of like, I'm so tired, feel that I don't want to do stuff. It's not necessarily a depression. And then you have this constant fear because you're stuck. You're stuck in that fight or flight, and you're so afraid that if you stop working, if you stop doing this, it's all going to crumble. And that fear drives you more. But the problem is, it's a bad cycle. And you're going to keep pushing. And so I get people to start realizing it's the inside and the outside. We can work on the business, but if we don't work on the inside, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I'm more like your sister because I don't internalize a lot of things. But I do understand and appreciate other people that do. And how draining that can be. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. So before I let you go, let's talk about the Cortessa Identity. What's one small thing my audience can do today to start living like that empress life that we're talking about, before they feel ready to, before they've built the business, before they're seeing the income goal that they want to achieve?
It goes back to what we talked about, in all honesty. Let's start scheduling something into our life that gives us joy, that gives us happiness, that's outside of work. So that could be taking a walk, that could be paddleboarding, that can be, like my sister, pickleball, like whatever it is that you love. Let's step out just a little bit. Let's look at that. Now, if you're someone who's listening and you're like, okay, Christina, like, I think I have some of those inside problems you're talking about. Like, my system's kind of messed up, or you're always having gut problems or acid reflux or whatever. Then I would say, don't worry about the other stuff. Let's take a step back and work on your nervous system, work on your body, work on getting you healthy. Because when I was really sick for a long time, with my nervous system and everything, I couldn't make money. I was struggling because you don't have the energy, you don't have the desire. But once I fixed it and I started realizing, like, I did a lot of tests so I don't detox naturally, I have an electrolyte issue. Like, once I started learning all that and then I fixed it, I was like, whoa, look at the money flow. Like, it just came,
Wow.
like, it
Yeah.
just comes to you and you're like, this is crazy. So your
Yeah.
body has a way of repelling things when it
Mhm.
doesn't want it. So
Yep.
if you're really struggling already,
Mhm.
maybe it's the first step is just your nervous system, your body. But if you're like, oh, that's not me, like you were saying, you're like, I don't really internalize all that. Then the next one would be really just taking the time, a day, an hour, something where you do something joyfully, not working out, listening to business podcasts. That doesn't count
Are
at
you
all.
talking to me? How do you know me?
It's all the women, because we look at everything as how can, and this is a big one, how can we do more
Uh-huh.
and get it done?
Yeah.
I need you to stop and say, how can I do less, refine, eliminate,
Mhm.
and then really structure in a way where I'm doing less, I'm making a lot more, and I'm enjoying the process as we go. And that is
Yeah.
what the real essence of the House of Cortessa is all about. We're going to refine everything, strip it away, bring in the right people if you need people. Like, it's all about figuring out you, your business, your
Mhm.
lifestyle. That's why, like, inside, if you want to do coaching, because I offer coaching, if you want to do coaching, it's 100% customized to you. Like,
Yeah.
you get to learn like what you need, however it needs to be. Maybe I can just help you with tax strategies because I have a master's in taxation, right?
Mhm.
I used to work for Ernst and Young. So it's like, let me get some tax ideas going. Maybe you can save $200,000 in taxes right now and put that in your pocket. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many cool things you can do, but we got to work both sides: health, longevity,
Mhm.
and building an empire that feels all of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. You are speaking my language. You guys, Christina has brought an awesome freebie for us. Do you want to share with them what it is? I just put the link to it in the free Facebook group, and LinkedIn people and YouTube people, YouTubers and podcast listeners. It's in the show notes. LinkedIn, I'll be over there with you in just a second to pop that link into the
What
comments for you.
freebie do you have? Because I don't know I have a freebie.
I have, it says, it's got your name on it, which I can't
Yep.
pronounce. And then it says HOC waitlist.
Oh,
So I think it's House of
that's
Cortessa waitlist.
it's not my freebie, but I can give you a freebie. I actually have a freebie, which will be a self audit to see where you're going.
Nice.
The wait list is if someone is actually interested in the House of Cortessa, they want to get into it. So here's kind of a cool thing about it. Getting on the wait list is just you get to come and get an invitation to the open house. Okay.
Mhm.
But you also, by being on the wait list, if you want to come to one of my live experiences in Nashville,
Mhm.
where I actually will get you a 5% jump either in your personal life or in your business, whatever it needs to be. It's a very curated event. You can get invited to that as well, but you have to be on the wait list in
Okay.
order to get an invite for either. And then
Nice.
I'll send you the link for the audit. It's a self audit where you can actually
Mhm.
see, are you in like overdrive? Are you just plowing down a road that you don't even want to go down to? This self audit is going to help you realize where you are
Mhm.
and then what's the next step you can do to kind of get out of that.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's so generous. I love
Yeah.
that. And I'll get that link for everybody, and we will make sure everybody gets it.
Yes.
Okay, my friends, here's what I want you to do now. So a lot of you have been asking if I'm going to offer my workshop that I ran back in June, DM Conversations That Convert. And yes, the answer is yes. It is next week on September 16th. If you're an alum in my Business Visibility Made Easy program, or you're one of my elite one-to-one clients, you get it for 50% off. So just ask me for that special code to get your VIP discount. I'm going to pop the link to it into the comments for everybody. And again, if you're coming to us on the podcast, it will be in the show notes. And if you're with me on YouTube, it will also be in the description notes there as well. But we're going to talk about actually having DM conversations like human beings, human being to human being. I'm going to tell you what kind of DMs there are, because there's lots of different kinds, how to send them, when to send them, what to say. And that sounds like you and feels like you. I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of scripts. I am going to give you what I normally do and a template. I've got this awesome workbook with some chat GPT prompts and all the things you need to be successful. So come join us for that. And also, the first free networking session that I'm running for my free Facebook group members, Say that 5 times fast. That was a lot of F's. It was last week. It was last Friday. It's the first Friday of every month. The next one is October 3rd, 10:30 to 11:30 Central. It's open for all the members of my free Facebook group. So there's another reason why you should join us. The registration for it is at the top of the group. Just go to the top of the group and look in the feed for the featured and pinned posts that are there. And if you can't find it, just DM me and I'll send it to you there. All right, my friends. Christina, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. If anybody has questions about income jumps or anything I talked about, feel free to DM me. I'm at Christina_Kokologiannakis on Instagram. We can have a conversation about it.
I love that so much. Okay, my friends, you hear me say this every single week. I want you to be here live with me every Thursday at 11:30, except next week, I will not be going live because we are going on vacation. But put it on your Google Calendar, set a phone alarm, and plan to be with me. And remember, don't try to do this alone. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Some days everybody wants to buy what you're selling, and other days nobody can remember your name. And if you think you're alone, you're not. I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And I want you to remember that when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have got to keep cheering each other on. Christina, is there anything you want to share with the group? Oh, where can everybody find you to connect with you? You just said Instagram. Yeah. Is there anywhere else?
Instagram is great. You can find me on YouTube. My YouTube is at Christina Kokologiannakis, no underscore, just the full name. And then I am building out my LinkedIn. So if you want to jump into LinkedIn and see how I'm going to reshape all of that, because I haven't touched it for years, you can find me at LinkedIn. Same thing, Christina Kokologiannakis. And then Instagram is where you can have the best conversations with me.
I love that so much. And you have a podcast. What's the name of yours?
I do. The podcast is the Effortless Closing Podcast. And you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Apple, basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find it there.
I love it. I love that so much. All right, my friends, have a great balance of the week and weekend and keep cheering each other on. I'll talk to you soon.